So today we're talking about a little experience that I got on a field not so long ago, but I'm not sure what time you guys will be watching this video. So yeah, I took the Lumix out for a photo shoot, and that is something that I've never done before. It actually happens to be the first time. I mean, I've been shooting a couple of videos, personal YouTube videos, I mean some car shots and a few commercials with the Lumix S1, but this actually happens to be the first time, I mean my first time ever using the Panasonic S1 for photography work. And it actually happens to be my first Lumix. Happened to be, I mean, a photo. I mean, I never thought Panasonic or Lumix in general can actually be a photography camera this good. All right, I've been using Canon all of my life. I've been using a whole bunch of Canon cameras and lenses. I mean, almost the entire, journey of this filmmaking and photography thing. I've never used any other brand, maybe Nikon, yeah, or Nikon, some people may say. But when it comes to Lumix, I've never tried it before. So I was like, okay, cool. Since, the whole mentality or ideology, people actually get to think of, Lumix as a filmmaking or cinematographer's camera. A lot of people do prefer buying, Panasonic, any type of Panasonic, whether being the GH5, GH6. A lot of people prefer it to be a video camera, but it's very rare for you to see people using Lumix as their main photographic camera. Well, there is only few. So I was very much impressed when I took this camera out, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm not taking my Canon along. I'm only taking the Lumix S1 on the field. Nothing else, just the camera body and the 17, this particular lens here, the 17 to 40 Canon lens with adapted MC21 or so adapter on it. So guys, we're having a random photo section today, and I decided to come with the Lumix only. So today we're shooting on the Panasonic S1, and I'm rolling with the 50mm STM Canon and also the Canon 17 to 40mm. I'm going to show the sample footages of what we get, and you guys will be the judge of it. I'm like, okay, cool. Whatever happens, I'm just taking it as it is. Whether the images comes out nice, whether they don't, I will just have to deal with it. So I took the challenge out there. I took it to myself that, no, let's just go and see what we get. And boy, it was crazy. Yeah, you do know that when it comes to photography, lighting plays a huge role. The environment also plays a role depending on, the surroundings and how the looks are, and also the type of lenses as well. I actually abandoned all those, I abandoned all those factors, and then I'm like, cool, let me just take this particular gear to the field. And there were two friends of mine that I actually got as my models. Honestly, there was nothing like a flashlight. There was nothing like, there was nothing, no reflectors, nothing. It was just the camera. And I didn't even shoot in RAW. All the images you are seeing are JPEG images. These are like JPEG images straight from the camera, no conversion done, nothing. I was so blown out when I actually exported the images onto my computer, because I came from the EOS R, which is a full frame camera as well, and very much good in autofocus performance and quality. But I think the details that I'm getting from the Lumix S1, it's way ahead from the EOS R. And trust me, I'm not even capping, I'm not tripping. This is facts. Like I was so blown out. So it's much crazy that people do not even get their hands on Lumix cameras as photographic cameras. But I do understand, because this camera is packed with a whole lot of features which videographers love. It's only few people, like I said, that normally get their hands on this camera for photography. But when it comes to videography, there are a whole lot of people using this particular camera. So I do think if ever you want to get your hands on the Lumix S1, which I'm currently using, I think this also applies to the S5, the original one as well. They are the same family. It's just a matter of preference and what you need. It's a nice camera even for photography. It's an amazing camera, but there is a little downside here and there, especially if you want to get the S1. Okay, so the S1 autofocus is very bad, especially if you use third-party lens. Other manufacturer lens like Canon adapted lenses and all that. But if you are using their native lenses, I do believe you can get some amazing performance out of the camera. Obviously the autofocus will perform much better. But if you are adapting lenses, it might be a bit of a problem. That is why focus peaking comes into play. So whilst I was shooting, the camera actually gave me the ability to have the peaking. So I do know what is in frame and I do know what is not in frame, but there's still a problem. When you go that way, you are unable to tell what is in frame, especially if you are shooting at a higher shutter speed, a higher aperture. So if you are shooting on a higher aperture, it is very hard for you to tell what is in focus and what is not in focus, even though the peaking will tell you, hey, this is in focus, but you're going to miss a lot. So there was another option which actually helped me, and that is like zooming in on the screen a little bit. So once you zoom in on the screen, just a little bit like the way I'm doing my hands, it zooms in and gives you a little box on the subject. So it can actually zoom in a portion of the subject that you are focusing on, and it will tell you, you'll see it very clear what is in focus and what is not in focus. So there are a whole lot of options that will actually help if ever you don't have their native lens on and you want to go adapted. Lumix cameras, I never thought they were this good when it comes to photography, but I was so blown away. If you can zoom in into these images, you can tell like there's serious details going on. I tried zooming in seriously and I can still get a huge amount of details in the images. I was so blown out. It's been my first time having this camera for photography. I was so shocked. Lumix camera is not only for videography, yeah. If ever you want to get the S1 for photography as well, I do think it's going to serve you very well, but there is other ways around it, which is by getting their native lenses. You might get a better performance than having to adapt lenses. But if ever you are not interested in the S1, because after a couple of minutes shooting, I felt very tired because the camera is very heavy. Having the camera in my hands all day and bending up and down, trying to if you are not used to it, you'll be upset. But I am used to having bigger cameras, and yeah, so I think it does the job. But if ever the weight might be a problem to you, then I suggest maybe you should check the S5, the original one, or if you have more money, maybe you should jump onto the latest model, the Mark 1s and the the Mark 2 and the Mark 2X. They do a better job, but just know that you'll be paying a bit more due to their better autofocus performance and all that. Overall, I'm very much impressed with this footages. It's amazing. It's very much amazing, and I think I'll be using the S1 more even for photography, but obviously it's a videography camera, so I will stick to videography as well. So thank you very much for coming. This is just a little of me sharing my thoughts about the S1. I'll keep coming with updates whenever I get my hands on one. I'm still trying out the camera, so any new thing that I come up with, I'll definitely keep you guys posted. So overall, I'm very much happy. And one more thing, the camera is actually 20 megapixel, I believe. So in case you are wondering, it's a 20 megapixel camera. So yeah, the type of details that comes out, hands down, no complaints. So thank you very much for coming. I'm gonna end this here. If you have any questions based on this whole Lumix cameras or Panasonic S1 or related camera, just let me know. Link it up in the comment section and I'll try to answer everything. Thank you very much for coming, guys. It is very hot here. I'm dying. So I will see you guys in another video. Stay safe. Peace.
Kopi kam?
Oh, betul dah ke ya, Fawasim.